And welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. Dr. Lopkin, I'm going to let you take the lead on the first news story that we're going to address.
Yeah, the circus that is impeachment added a new ring this morning. Basically, Republican congressmen stormed the Bastille. They interrupted, actually, just before the depositions were scheduled to start. Republican congressmen entered without permission the secure room that the Democrats
hold on.
have been holding.
Why do they need permission? It's pretty much a third world country kind of.
Well, that's the big problem here. All of this has been held behind closed doors.
Only Democrats. Who ever heard of that? I've never heard of that in my entire life.
It's ridiculous. It's never been done before. Remember, the
it's dangerous.
Yeah, the proper impeachment procedure requires a vote be held on the floor of the House, which has not been done. These hearings are supposed to be public. If you recall the Clinton impeachment, not only was his deposition done publicly, it was televised.
Yes, and also Nixon. I don't know if it was televised. I think it was televised, but the Republicans had access, and so did Nixon's attorney, just like Clinton.
Right. Here, they're keeping everybody out, keeping everything behind closed doors, and then when you hear the media report what happened, they're reporting what someone in the room interprets.
Okay, so how come this hasn't gone to the Supreme Court?
Well, it would have to go through all of the courts before it got to the Supreme Court. You can't just go right to the Supreme Court.
Okay, I mean, this to me this is actually scary because I think, Adam Schiff, the guy from New York, the whole list of them, Pelosi, it's pretty scary because, be careful what you wish for in life. That's one of the most dangerous things. I wish I was this. I wish this would happen, that would happen. And when it happens, sometimes be careful, my friend, because the Democrats should be careful because when a Democrat gets in, whenever that is, then you don't think there's going to be retaliation. And by the way, I was not for the Clinton impeachment. I thought he should have been censured, not impeached. So be careful what you wish for. But this one's off the hook. And it really very dangerous for our democracy.
What I really find absolutely hysterical about all of this is that during the 2016 election, everybody was yelling about transparency. Everything needed to be transparent. They wanted everything transparent. Well, Trump happens to be one of the most transparent presidents we've ever had. He tweets everything. He yells at people in public. This is what transparency looks like. The Democrats, on the other hand, who were yelling for transparency, they're keeping everything behind locked doors.
Well, it does seem to be working, my friend, because the polls on impeachment are starting to shift to the direction of, I think it's 50, whatever it is, 50 some odd percent of people are now for it.
Well, it depends. I'm sure you're referring to the Quinnipiac poll that came out this morning. But that poll is actually very misleading because if you read the questions and what they actually polled, they asked if people were in favor of the impeachment investigation. So people want this investigated. They don't necessarily believe that he did anything wrong. They just want to make sure. We also know
that actually is surprising to me because aren't people sick of this already? There's a 3-year circus, Mueller, and God, I am really shocked. I thought people would be enough is enough.
Most people are sick of it. You have to remember, we learned in 2016 that the polling, Quinnipiac, Reuters, all of them, basically they are limited to the people who are answering the phones and agreeing to answer their questions. Well, as we learned in 2016, that doesn't include many Trump supporters. So that's a whole side that's not being polled. And anybody that's sick and tired of it is hanging up on these polls.
True. I have to say that would be true. Okay, so where does this play out? One thing that's extremely interesting for me is that, in spite of all this, and I think if it went head to head in real terms, it would even be more dramatic. Trump beats every one of the people running Democratic side.
Oh, yes. At this point, the big influence that the impeachment hearings have had is to energize Trump's base. Donations are up for Trump. Turnout at his rallies are up. I mean, this is the worst possible result for the Democrats. At this point, I honestly think the Democrats are going to push for impeachment. It will pass on a party line vote. They will impeach him. It'll go to the Senate. He'll be found not guilty because there's no real evidence, and he's going to win another term.
I have to say, though, speaking of winning, it was just talk. Bannon said it. And now others, I can't recall in particular who these people are, but credible people, okay, not, whack jobs, really believe Hillary's, she already hinted at, is going to put her hat in the ring, because unless there's a real impeachment, like he gets thrown out, blah, 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 whatever, he's going to win with the current cast of characters that the Democrats have. And Hillary's thinking she's going to throw, I think it's a 50-50 shot. She throws her hat in the ring. What do you think? And who wins if that happens?
I think there probably is a 50-50 shot for her to throw her hat into the ring. I don't think it changes the outcome of the election. Trump won last time primarily because he was not Hillary Clinton. People voted for him to keep her out of office, and they will do so again.
Okay, well, I have one follow-up to that, though. One thing that I believe, or not believe, I would question is, how about those people like, oh my God, we came so close 4 years ago, let's get out there. I mean, don't you think the Democratic base will be pretty energized?
Hillary doesn't energize the base. Hillary doesn't energize anybody at this point. Most Democrats who are involved in politics, at least, want her to go away. The simple fact of the matter is, it wasn't a close election. They talk about, oh, well, she won the popular but lost the electoral. Yeah, and those states are not going to vote for her again.
True. Before we get into the Facebook testimony, how about Mitt Romney? I think he's 70-something years old, so I don't think he has presidential aspirations. What is going on with him? I mean, he doesn't say anything about what's going on with the Democrats, the fiasco. He just has it hell-bent on Trump.
No, Mitt Romney is still throwing a temper tantrum because he and Trump went at it in the primaries, and Trump was really nasty and insulted him the same way Trump insulted everybody
Romney
else.
Started. I'm sorry, this time Romney actually started. Not this time. In the primaries, he's the one who had that whole dog and pony show about Trump's a con artist. I mean, Romney's the one who started.
Yeah, he's throwing a temper tantrum because he lost, and he lost
because
basically
Trump is correct. Trump was correct. He choked. He did.
Yes, he lost because it was a horribly run campaign. And, he can't seem to get over it any more than the Democrats have gotten over Hillary's loss.
Yes, he actually had Obama on the ropes after the first, and he just choked. He choked. So, interesting character. I think you're right. I think he's actually putting his own ego in ahead of the country. Facebook, let's wrap it up with that. They're testifying.
Mark Zuckerberg testified in front of Congress today talking about what they're doing with cyber currencies and how they handle their advertising and a whole bunch of other things. And watching this was absolutely embarrassing. The Congress, Max, I stated earlier to a number of people, watching Maxine Waters question Mark Zuckerberg was like watching a dog bark at a vacuum cleaner. She had no idea what she was talking about. I don't know that she's ever gone online. And we have this group of Congress people who are completely ignorant of how Facebook works, how people use it. God only knows if any of them have done anything online other than email. And they're
Actually, I
questioning.
get back to Tucker Carlson. He had a comment, and I believe him 100%. First of all, I think he's a fantastic show, the best show on Fox. Hannity I can do without. But anyway, he was saying we've never had worse leaders. And you look at Congress, I mean, Adam Schiff, these people
it is
are just
absolutely
it's a joke.
Amazing. But I mean, this group at the hearing today basically made the case for term limits, because these people, the average age in the room is in their 70s. They're out of touch with what's going on. They basically proved we need term limits. We need all of these people gone.
Well, and it proves out that Washington, D.C. area is the richest county in America, is because these people are lining their pockets on bad policy, bad trade deals, bad foreign policy, they're just incompetent, but they're making out like bandits, aren't they?
That pretty much, that sums it up, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's another great edition of Carnivore Bites. We'll be back next week.
See you then. You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch us every week at exvadio.com/podcasts, on the iHeartRadio app, the Apple Podcasts app, the iTunes Store, Spotify, and wherever you find podcasts. You can also catch us live every Friday at 4 on WESU FM 88.1.